ways, few different paths. They can join different programs, and we will support them, obviously, and we will see what's most effective and what will work.
Thank you. Michal mentioned here something about me being the state secretary and kicking off the internationalization in Slovakia. No. Well, it's what people see, but it's not the work being done behind the curtain. I'm working with the internationalization for more than 20 years already by now. And, well, we started like 2013 writing some thesis for, it was a division for international cooperation at the Ministry of Education. And since then, we launched meetings of vice rectors for international affairs, and so on and so forth. Finally, there was an idea to write down the strategy for internationalization, and who wrote it? Yeah, me. So it was like long process, long walk to go, and saying like, now we start, because when you talk about internationalization, the question is, what do you think internationalization is? What it's good for? It's good for what you want to achieve in your targets. Can it help? It's not the target itself, it's a process that can help you with, like, make a better research in a field. And how do I use international elements to add to this and to make it even better? Or I want to have, like, the country has problem with workforce, and how do we get well-educated workforce to Slovakia? Well, we'll attract them to the study, and they'll stay, because usually the OECD says 25% of international students are staying in the country where they study. But for that, we have to have services. We have to make people comfortable to stay here, or even if they go away, they still have this connection. And if there was a positive thought in their heads that, okay, Slovakia is nice and great, then I can connect with my institution somewhere abroad. And yeah, that's the internationalization. So, as Michal said, we need to think like about, you know what you don't know or something.
We don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. Well, it's exactly what it's a good approach, but you have to like talk to people and from abroad, from those countries where those processes are involved. But you cannot just take them and copy them one-on-one. For example, with this mobility windows you mentioned. Well, we all know what mobility windows looks like, should look like, and what it's good for. However, every country that implemented it, even on the Commission's level, it's still about sending people somewhere else abroad. However, since 10 years we already know that students there's a group, not insignificant one, that either don't want or cannot go away for a longer period, even for a shorter period. So, and nobody's talking about that. Like, they always want to push them to go away, but you can do it internationalization at home, and that was our approach in our law and changes and strategy. But we wrote down into the law that there have to be two sides of the coin, both adequately thought of. And it's not only sending the person away and thinking about the program, what he or she is going to do abroad, but also giving the chance for students who cannot go. Finally, there was an idea to what? Okay, so to give them this opportunity to gain the same or at least approximate amount of skills that they would get from the study abroad, and not just send them, because the thing is what the mobility should be about, and we should question whether we are not losing something of it or not, because it started as sending students for a semester abroad was kind of possibility to get to know another culture, to experience like how I can live there, and how can I understand like when something is thinking in a totally different way about my subject of study, and in the end somewhere there was an idea to make conditions for better cooperation in Europe and peace in the world and so on. But that's something we cannot relate to too far to ideal, but it contributes to living. But now, when there's a big mass of people going abroad, and like I've learned that some universities are sending whole groups abroad, which are staying together always on the campus, being like serviced as the group, and never experience the culture as an individual person, and never are in a situation where they have to somehow learn how to behave to get involved. And this is what we lose with this massification. And with the short-term BIPs and VIPs and so on, it's time for, I think, it's time for me to rethink what's the added value and what are the elements from the internationalization that can really help students to gain new skills or new experience. That's all.
Okay, thank you so much for this amazing answer. Yeah, but if it transfers to ESN, we are also saying that you don't need to, if you cannot go for Erasmus, you can live your Erasmus here in Slovakia with us. Because with all the Erasmus students that are coming here, we are living our Erasmus here. But it's not abroad, it's in Slovakia, so this is also kind of like internationalization in Slovakia.
Do you get credits for that?
No.
And it's gaining skills?
Yes. Okay, so we see that there are so many challenges in internationalization, and what do you think, which one is the biggest challenge in promoting internationalization? How can we maybe promote it?
Okay, first maybe I will comment the BIPs and blended intensive programs. We talked about this with you last time, I think, and you told us that it's a good way how to start with the Erasmus Plus. So that's why maybe it's an option to go for just 2 weeks or for short-term mobility, and you can gain some international experience in general. So that's why the BIPs were implemented. And regarding the strategies, and we found out that each institution has its own strategy. So it's good to have. And when we do monitoring, so we also track these strategies. But what we realized that we fall short on implementation into practice. So the theory is okay. Yes, everything is written, but what we miss is the implementation into concrete action. And what was the question?
The next challenge.
Okay, so major. Okay, so maybe this so if we have a strategy how to make it into the practice or how to implement these things, and also maybe it would be good to set the measures or the indicators, what we want to achieve, the goals, and how to measure them and see the progress. And that's what we're missing.
And maybe in the promoting, what's the biggest challenge there?
Promoting the Erasmus Plus or
in general?
In general. Maybe I have to think about it. So I pass the microphone and I will.
Well, as I mentioned, we as ministry are trying to create platforms for universities to share their know-how and their knowledge, because each university is different, has different students and they've got different needs. Also, I know that, for example, for humanities, it's much easier to gain credits or have credits from abroad in their study plan. It's not that easy for technical universities, but they can share that knowledge and their experience, and then promote it to the students. Because sometimes you can do like the same way for everybody on some basic level, but in the end of the day, as I said, each university is special and they need to do it their own specific way.
Everything sounds nice and easy. And I apologize when I was like an old grumpy man talking about like, the negatives. You can have platforms as many as you want if nobody knows what to do exactly and how to deal with the stuff you do. Because of the two organizations we represent here, except the ministry, we tried to work with universities for like eons about what's internationalization, how to implement it, and so on. As you mentioned before, it's now that universities are starting to put this idea of internationalization on the level of highest importance because it's funded. Suddenly it brought money to the system, and like those vice rectors who dealt with like just Erasmus or something, like sending out students, recruiting students in, are now overwhelmed with what's all the spectrum of activities they could cover, shall cover, what shall they do? And now, imagine a meeting of them where the ministry stands up and says, so tell me what you want to do. And they look at the ministry, ministry, please tell me what to do. And like, that's the overarching thought. And like, how can this develop even further? I don't know. And that's not a problem with suddenly we have a topic on the daylight, but it's also a topic where it's connected to other parts of the society, like employment, like immigration laws, and so on. And for 20 years we've been working with them. There was a small group of people who understood. Suddenly the group is big. Everybody wants to say something. And we started discussion again from the beginning 20 years ago. So if we don't manage somehow to go and set up some system of trust or gray, wise, grumpy people, let's say, then we lose time. And we are already 10 years behind the Central Europe developments in this field, or in Slovakia. So that's a negative thing, but I think it needs to be said. And the biggest challenges.
Okay, so the communication is I think the main point here. Also with the coordinators, the vice rectors, the management of the higher education institutions. And we have to realize that the internationalization is not just counting the number of outgoing students, but it's bringing new ideas home, maybe improve the teaching methods, learning something new or give you better learning experiences. So we have to discuss it more than we do it right now.
Thank you so much. And when it comes to Erasmus Plus program or to the national scholarship program, have you observed any changes in society or students' attitudes toward the mobilities, like in these two programs?
In terms of the Erasmus Plus, I think the view of the students or in general is very positive. The number of the outgoing mobilities are growing. Students yes, face some barriers and obstacles to be part of this kind of experience. But in general, yeah, the view is positive, and when we open the social media, we see that the Erasmus Plus program is Tyra program, and yes, it's a more successful program of the European Union, maybe, or someone said. So I think we have a positive attitude or positive view of the Erasmus Plus program. And regarding the barriers and obstacles that students have to face, we have conducted a survey. So we are analyzing the results now, but we can see that the students have some three main obstacles to take part in the mobility. And this is first one was the personal and issues. Second one is the financial burden, and the third one is also the I can't remember. Sorry, I have to check. Okay, so the risk of extending the duration of the study. So that's were the three obstacles. But in general, the view of the students, staff, and also the management of the higher education institution are very positive.
Yeah, but the numbers are growing, but they are growing also for the longer terms, or just for the mix and the shorter terms?
No, also for the longer terms. Okay. Yeah, but the number of the weeks are rising as well. So yeah.
Well.
Okay, so the National Scholarship Program is the biggest national funding for mobility. Cannot compare to the Erasmus money, of course. But we see it's also a different picture in our program, that actually the numbers of Slovak students wanting to go abroad are dropping, and it may be a result of still rising amount of money in the Erasmus Plus and pushing people to go on mobility directly from the university level, let's say. So I cannot say whether in general we are heading toward a rise or fall of the students' mobility, but yeah, that's from what's from our point of view visible. The other thing is actually that we see that Slovakia is more attractive for foreign students to flow in. And again, the obstacle is how to deal with it. We have just one program open to the whole world, and we get like 900 applications per call. We can award like 150 maybe places. How do you deal with a process that should be finished in 2 months from the deadline for application? The program is not set to cover that big amount of applications. It was never meant to. We never imagined since 2006 when we started with it that it's going to be that it raises to that level. And even we have a big group of one country students, let's say Uzbekistan. They're one half just of the applicants actually, and they have probably companies doing that. So the question is how you evaluate nowadays the application. What you can trust, because with all the AI tools, you see when I see a word vibrant in an application, I go mad, because that's the sign that the AI broke. And if you see like hundreds of applications with that word, it's amazing that like you are questioning yourself whether you are evaluating an AI or a person. And how we deal with this in this world. That's for the future, because you can talk about challenges nowadays, in this minute, but it doesn't help you to foresee the problems that you are heading and you will be overwhelmed with. So that's why we should talk also about this.
Okay, thank you.
We have a scholarship program called Full Study Experience.
Okay, yeah. We've got one. And actually a lot of applicants from Uzbekistan, you mentioned. Yeah, okay, so yeah, we've got for foreign students, it's from Recovery and Resilience Plan, and it's open for everybody from abroad, and actually Slovaks living in abroad, so yeah, we are supporting also those type of students. It's just opening now, the next fall. So we will see how successful it is. We don't have numbers yet.
Okay, thank you. So maybe I can speak it out. Now we can go to bureaucracy, because when I'm talking with the students around me or young people, they are always talking that the bureaucracy is a big thing, like it's a really big obstacle. Do you also see this, like bureaucracy is something?
So okay, I will not be old grumpy man. I will be young and boring. I am bureaucrat as a trade, and I don't like bureaucracy. Like nobody likes bureaucracy, but since we are a technical university, bureaucracy is just a machine to process stuff, process things, and basically new laws, new calls are just adding new layers to these machines, and even we inside the ministry try to make this machine running and put away as many unnecessary things from it to run it smooth. So from outside this, it looks like bureaucrats love bureaucracy and love bureaucracy. So now so yeah, we are the first line who doesn't like it, but we've got to deal with all the stuff, and what's on the output is actually, or in a lot of times, the cleanest version we can work with. So it's we know we are communicating with university students, etc. We know where are the pain points, and we are trying to get rid of them.
It's nice you said that you are a bureaucrat, because you will now understand when he says we are trying to make things easier. There is an anecdote that's repeatedly reoccurring every time a new either Erasmus is negotiated or Horizon is negotiated, and that is, be aware, when the Commission somehow said there will be a simplification, you can be sure there will be more processes and more papers. So, having said that, it's really hard to say, like, is it bureaucracy or not? Because reading the final reports from the modalities, and we have the question there, like, how do you think the administration might? And there are people who write exactly this. It's been too many papers that you are asked for, and why can't I submit something electronically signed? Question is what's signed, and so on and so forth. But there, on the other hand, actually, it's half to half. That they say, I understand that it's been too much paperwork, but I understand why. Because you have to select that person based on something, and you cannot just say, like, picking from the I don't know, whatever, from the law. So the administration and the bureaucracy, when we deal with problems, of course there are frauds or fraud attempts. Well, usually the first thing that the administration thinks, like, I need a paper to secure that somebody signs that this person has been there. But is it really necessary? is it telling me something, or is it just covering me that I checked it? So, and that's the approach, that's the second thought of the bureaucrat that's sometimes missing. Because when we in like the CPAS, because I have a colleague here that deals with the CPAS on national level, Simona. If somebody's from the Central East Europe, you can contact her for mobility. That's end of the advertisement. And within CPAS, we had a big problem with universities with some of them, and they were submitting copies of some papers that were fraudulent. And we had big thoughts about like what to introduce, what measure can we introduce to have a double check, like four eyes looking at the same thing, and not impact in a negative way all the universities, 99% of the universities which are dealing with the stuff correctly, and we have no problem with that. So this is the thing that you usually have to rethink twice, not just act like I need to save today and put in the measure, but really, I don't know how you do this, but we try to do these 3-4 thoughts about like what it really brings, and then introduce a measure, but not ask just for paper. So yeah, bureaucracy will be there, is there. With the changing world, also the bureaucracy will have to change somehow, because we, as I mentioned, the signatures. What's the signature today? What does it actually, how can you say it's genuine? That a person signed the paper. You know what we do? Like, we just on the paper, whether it melts or not, whether it's printer, laser printer printed or not. I mean, that's insane. But some people say just, okay, I had it signed, and in some countries it works. Like, you see the scanned signature, cut it off from some other document, put it on a nice white plate, and it's grayish or something like that. But it's signed. Is it signed? Do we know that the person who owns the signature put the signature on the paper or not, and sealed it? How is it sealed? But I think we had these issues in the history of mankind for eons. You know, the bulas, the seals of kings. They were also fraudulently copied, and there were also problems with that. So when our predecessors dealt with it and could deal with it and lived with it, we find a solution without making it more bureaucratic. But in a way, we'll have to try better things.
Yes, and I think that there are far more complex systems than the Erasmus Plus. So it's completely natural that when you are studying abroad, you have to sign the application, the learning agreement. And when you are receiving a grant, I think it's a formal agreement is necessary when you're receiving money. So there's no way how can we eliminate this documentation. What we can do, or what the Commission try to do, is to digitize all of these documents. Yes, it's a long process, but we already started with the OLAS and the digital learning agreements. And yes, it's also a complex system. But as I said last time when we met, the Slovakia education institutions are really good at it, and you have some experience already, and I hope it simplifies. Okay, it's just one step of the mobility, or before the mobility, but yeah, it's going to continue. So yeah, what the higher education institutions can do, for instance, when we have a special needs or the top-ups. So maybe they already have the documentation on file at the university. So and they ask once again. So maybe that there are some process that we can avoid. GDPR, okay. Yes. And I'm not sure if I mentioned once again the mobility windows. Is it also, it should help to avoid the bureaucracy, as I heard that sometimes you have to reach each professor or teacher to sign or to approve the courses, so maybe it could help to avoid also the bureaucracy.
Got something? Okay, you are the next generation of bureaucrats. You never know. What I miss, and it's our generational thing, that every solution that is introduced to some problem is always thought on a problem itself, to solve the problem itself. But you mentioned again these signatures, electronic signatures, and we deal with that in the National Scholarship Program for a longer time. And even if you have this European, I don't know if it's regulation about what's accepted as a signature, our own state does not accept all of those possibilities. Then, when you look in the real world, and you take a pen, you sign, and it's your signature, and nobody questions, actually, if you sign it in front of the person, nobody questions it. So what's the pendant in the virtual world for that, for this exact simple solution? Because European Commission has some or European Union has some specific coding for I don't know, for security, and has a list of the organization that can provide you with this security coding, and are certified for that within the whole European Commission. But then you get a document from Brazil, and every Brazilian university is issuing a document like that, and you click on that, and the PDF says, well, this document could not be verified. Can you trust the signature if you're not an IT specialist who knows what the lines that are saying? No, you cannot. But if you see the written signature and you believe it's handwritten, then you have no problem to trust that. How comes? So your role in this whole is to find a simple solution for combining all these things we have now in virtual world, because we experience, our generation experimented like how to deal with it. And now you have to do the meta-analysis and say like, this is the thing that's accepted for the whole world and nobody cares. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now maybe just really quick, from the other side, like, where do you see the potential for the development of internationalization in the upcoming years? Like, what do you believe that can be the key improvement in this?
Okay, so well, maybe the European Universities alliances and the joint degree programs. That's the future of some Slovak higher education institutions. It depends how other higher education institutions can work with it and to compete to these alliances. Regarding the Erasmus Plus, it depends on the budget, what we are looking for in the coming month. So we will see what's coming next. But we hope that the Erasmus will continue, and maybe not this way as it is now, but we hope the mobilities will rise, and I hope you will enjoy this program. Yeah.
So, as I mentioned, Michal kickstarted it twice, as you mentioned, 20 years ago and 3 years ago, this process. But as I add, we don't know what we don't know. So we definitely don't know what future brings. In startup community, they will say fail faster. we will see what's working and what's not working. We will obviously promote and support those programs which are working, but as was mentioned, yeah, we've got European alliances and Erasmus programs and many other programs, some bigger, some smaller. So I think Slovak Republic changed its approach to this in positive way, definitely, and education is gaining maybe bigger respect and some better funding in last year. So I believe that we will find some new ways how to improve international cooperation and internationalization.
Okay, again, being very positive today. There is a saying, if you cannot learn from your past or from the history, you have to experience it the hard way. Everything we are dealing with and all the tools we are using in this internationalization have been there for at least 100 years. Well, even longer, because our Slovak enlightenment people were like traveling to house for study at the university, which was like mobility. You never learned about that before, but now it's called mobility. Well, it's called degree mobility. You have the scholarships to travel around the world and making or trying to let people experience other cultures, also for you. But the question is, for what purposes they were used? And that's the connection to the, let's say, cultural diplomacy. Do you want to use this for cultural diplomacy, for soft powers? Do you want to use those tools that are there and have been there in some way? You just are somehow trying to put them into the other perspective because of what you need, but as a tool, it's been there. This is actually the thing. And I'm finished because I don't have a microphone. You really want it? No, it's just, it's not working. It really wants me to stop.
Okay. Okay, so maybe maybe the last question. We will see with the time. In your view, what's the role of the student organizations such as Erasmus Student Network, and which role these organizations play in the internationalization process? And could we somehow maybe, or can you imagine cooperating, for example, with organizations like this to make the internationalization more effective?
Yeah, okay. I think on the EU level there is already ongoing cooperation with the ESN. Almost each working group organized by the Commission has someone from your Brussels office. Usually it was Rita Diaz. I'm not sure if yeah. So she's part of the working groups. Also, when I mentioned the digitalization, it's a bottom-up approach that you students push the Commission to. Okay, thank you. Okay, so you students push the Commission to start to digitalize the thing. So I think your voice is heard. And you should be part of the decision-making process, and also maybe somehow at national level. And you are not just a volunteer group of people. You can be more and really be part of the decision-making. So we hope that we can help you or support you. And as I said, we cooperate quite often, and hope we will share your experiences or your ideas and try to try to tell them also the higher education institutions. So you are a game changer, player, or whatever.
Well, from the outside, ministry looks like just big concrete cube with all the grumpy men inside, and just creating policies somehow figured out. But in the end of the day, those policies and those programs are just based on real life experience and inputs from outside. Yeah, obviously we've got to bureaucratize them and make it a little bit harder. But in the end of the day, we need the cooperation from student bodies and from organizations, and on every level, from professionals, students, etc.
This is the question that I have to think most about in depth. Because if you remember what I started as an introduction of myself, I was a student representative at the time of my university studies. And looking back then and going through all the years of my experience and dealing with students also then as a well, on the other side of various levels. I have to say it's up to you how you contribute to develop the international. And I'm saying totally honestly, it's really up to you whether you will be just assistant to that process or useful as a service provider, or you will be the change maker. And I really experienced all those things. I was a change maker because back then, 2002, when we had a law on higher education that still is in work in the life, we were really taken as student representatives as serious people with serious thoughts and ideas, and many of them were implemented into the law. But it was a hard way to go through this, to get to this level. You have to really think like, you cannot be just angry young people who want to change. You need to persuade people. You need to have even more patience than the other side. And it takes time, it takes nerves. And taking the lifetime span of a student, it's very short. So when you start with the first year, and yeah, in 2 years you are burned out. And you need to focus on bachelor. Now even we did not have bachelor master division of the study, so we had 5 years altogether, but you were somehow disconnected in between. So you have to focus also when you study, not only on politics. So it's not easy, but you of course, as a service provider, as a person who takes care of the foreigners within the ESN, that's the best job ever somebody has done for the university life and the university as such. Because who takes care of you if you are here, like coming first time to the university and experience the university? The home students are never taken care of. But you decided to take care of the foreigners coming from different times, from the different worlds, from different experiences, and so on. And you have the patience to find out what their needs are, and that's great. But also, if you see in your life and in your service providing really something that gets your nerves on, and you want to change, don't hesitate to change. Just go through the whole process, try to find connections within the university management. There's always one person, at least one person, who cares for students at the university management level. Sometimes it's the rector even. And if you get there to his or her office, you sit down and talk, and he or she sees that, yeah, you're right, you have like arguments, they will listen to you, and you don't need to be pushy. You don't need to fight for your rights. So that's my idea from actually what I experienced, and that's why I'm talking about it very sentimentally, let's say.
Thank you so much. Since we are running out of time, I think we can have a really short question round. If you have any questions for our guests, you can ask now.
Yeah, I just want to please use the Slido so we know who's first and we can go in order properly. So name, section, and short summary, 2-3 words per question, and then we will call you as we see it on the Slido. Oh yeah, on the first raise their hand can ask right away.
Is there anyone who would like to ask something? Yes?
Yes. Wait for the mic, please.
Anyway, so my name is Roman. I'm from ESN SLOVAKIA, and my question is, probably anyone can answer, but I relate to the research education. And my question is that you mentioned that you mostly work with students and try to listen to what we have to say and try to implement it in your approach to either digitalization or international simulation.
That's a good
That's why I'm using international cooperation. It's easier.
Thank you. So it's either that or the bureaucracy or the signatures or whatever was mentioned. And my question is then how the cooperation looks, where can we see it and where can we see the fruits of the cooperation?
Well, as Michal mentioned, those most active students are always approaching, or they will contact us somehow. They will find some way. In most cases, through the university, because that's the way how students work. Basically, that they're communicating through universities or to the universities, and universities are having like the same problems, or those students are having the same problems, and they're articulating it through their channels to the ministry. But we are always open to have discussion. We have no problem to discuss with student bodies, and we are in touch. So I can give you my contact, and you can contact ministry anytime.
That's a good thing. Thank you. No, really, because it's how it works.
Okay, I will take the contact afterwards.
The politicians are not really important in that. If you want your idea to get into the process, you don't need a politician, because it's usually when it's pushed top down, the idea gets out the first time the person steps out of office. However, if you are dealing with bureaucrats and you negotiate with them, they live with the idea.
Lifespan of a politician is 4 years.
At the Ministry of Education, it's 1 year and less.
Yeah, that's true. So lifespan of politician is 1 year, 4 years max. Lifespan of bureaucrat is 40 years. So that's why we can push from bottom up. So if you find any contact, or when I give you one, then you can push your agenda to the ministry.
Ministry for 40 years.
Yeah, thank you for the answer. If I could just one small detail, like how should I be encouraged to try to make my idea see? Because currently I'm not really seeing any encouragement from the Ministry of Education to try to get the students to voice their ideas. If there is any specific...
I'll stop you right there. Because usually we've been the generation of people who, I don't know if you know the next year time, And we fought against nature, we fought for academic rights and so on. And my question is, like, do academic autonomy and academic self-governance tell you something? If yes, and because it's a strong thing at the academy, then why do you need some incentives from the ministry when the ministry is actually should stay out of the university? Really? And you should go to the official channels you have, and you have in the law perfect channels like the student chamber of the Senate. You have representatives then from these chambers at the national level, at the Student Council of Higher Education institutions. Of course, I know examples where the student chambers were effective and were working with the academics on topics, but I know also that they dealt with themselves and did not produce something effective. But it's up to you as a student, how you want to work with these issues that you are dealing with.
I will give you just two examples, 2018 and 1989. You've got much more power over government than government has over you. Like you as students has really power to overthrow the government. So basically if you want to do changes, as Mikhail mentioned many times in this discussion, you've got to build the platform and just make those changes. We are there just this piece of the machine, and if you find one person in university or at ministry, we will help you. That's why we are there. If it's a meaningful change, we will do it.
Okay. Thank you so much for this discussion. I hope we took so many informations and thoughts from this discussion, and I hope we can meet in the future for more discussions like this. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you to ŽiliNA for moderating the discussion. And now we will proceed with the ice-breaking game. So somebody from the LC come here and explain what we're going to do here. Thank you.
Let's go downstairs.
Okay, so we're going downstairs apparently.
Just wait a minute so people can leave.
Okay, so wait, guys, just wait there for a moment, please. Thank you. Okay, guys, now we can get up and follow the hero downstairs.
If it's not raining, I would like to go outside, so maybe you can take some jacket, some shirt or anything.
Our stuff or things.
I'll be in the field.
We'll be coming back afterwards, so we can leave your stuff here.
Asi hej.
ja som dneska jedol polku pizzy, že mi dostala to včera.
No to znie dobré.
Keď to som jedol o 12. noci.
Hm?
Som mal o 12. noci, o 5 večeru. Polku som už nehal, že si tam nejaký.
Ja som včera skončila o 2:00 a o 5:00 som vstala asi, že čo všetko nemáme, ak čo na teraz.
A večeru máme
um, you dinner. You will get your dinner directly to your hand at the entrance to your back to your dormitory block EF, and everything is covered. You just simply follow to your room and you get your food from the hands of. Next on the topic of program, we will be focused mainly on games and chill, so nothing too over overwhelming for before tomorrow because tomorrow we have a long day, so we get into mood. And the program is happening in the other building, so the one where you're staying is the block EF, and then the next building right behind it is block GH, which is where we'll have our program. And there is main hall, that is for the people that are tired after traveling. We have a special and thematic thing prepared in the main hall. Then there is a fuel station room. There will be a host. We will host an interesting idea of how to break the ice once again, a bit more with others in a playful way. And then we have the corner room, which is a place for us to network a bit more while we're being uninterrupted from favorite board games. And the start of the social program is after a little rest, and the dinner at 7 p.m. at the dormitories block GH. Thank you.
Okay, so about the dinner, updates will be in the group chat if there are any. And now, please, yeah, we're pretty much done for the day with the agenda. So now, please connect with your body family leaders and talk with them. Yes, and tomorrow we will be in a different room, so do not leave anything here, and we will not be coming back here ever again. So yeah. Yeah, so thank you for the day and meet your body family leaders.
Když si napíšeš do skupiny někdy klučík, pokud se hodil do
Oh my god. It's terrible. What happened to the audio?
Yes,
Okay, so okay, so it works, but the quality is shit. Like it works, but when you actually listen to the pod, maybe I'm not this is coming from the mixer. It has some feedback. Okay. You see, you hear them. We can try. Let's try tomorrow morning. Dude, probably the cinema has its own computer.
Family official and
No, sorry, no input? Ah, yeah. I mean,
the dinner will be at 6:30, not 7.
Končíme.